It's always a hoot watching teams and players shine and find their footing each new season. But anyone who's been following the NBA seasons knows that the Warriors seem to be a tad out of sync, especially considering the fact that they're the defending champions. And it seems like a number of factors have led them here. So today, let's talk about the Warriors and their potential next moves. Let's go. First off, let's talk about James Wiseman's potential move from the Warriors. Let's begin with the obvious. Like any other team that's done it before and would like to do it again, the Golden State Warriors wish to extend their dynasty by winning the NBA championship one more time. And while the pack has some pretty good players in its ranks, it's also true that the boys have yet to find their rhythm this season. In order to make it toward the finish line, they might need a couple more reliable bench players. And that leads us to the inevitable trade discussion. From the looks of it, the Warriors need to put up another veteran or two who can contribute to the team and win big. And that's when the time comes to play hardball. Because switching players ultimately gives rise to the question of who they'd be willing to let go. Apparently, one of the candidates up for review is James Wiseman. Now let's talk about James then, shall we? James Wiseman, a number 2 pick, has yet to establish himself in the NBA. Just this season, the 21-year-old has alternated between the NBA and G League, and we're sorry to inform you that he hasn't had much of an impact so far. From the looks of it, our guy here has yet to find his place in the league. Perhaps what Wiseman needs is a change of scenery because it's undeniable and the player has potential. So given the chance, he might be able to solidify his place in the NBA and let the world know exactly what he's made of. Perhaps the correct call here is to let Wiseman go because he isn't ready yet to contribute as a backup center. The trade alone would allow him to experience different dynamics and realize his strengths, and at the same time would allow the Golden Warriors to find a player better suited for their team. As we look back, it's very obvious that James Wiseman doesn't fit into what the Warriors are attempting to do this season. Because if we're being honest, the boy is young, and it would be ridiculous for a couple of different rebuilding teams to not give Wiseman a fair shot. What do you guys think? Next up, what is the right call here? Logically speaking, if James Wiseman continues to spend his time going back and forth to the G League, that would only result in one thing. It would only end up harming his confidence, and this early in his career, you don't want that, now do you? So that crosses out G League for him. As far as the NBA is concerned, Wiseman is being outclassed by Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, 2 players who seem to be more suited to the way the Warriors play. Putting him aside, even if we just focus on the Golden State front, they would prefer to trade some young blood for more experience, which is unlike what they usually do, but if they'd like to maintain their legacy and wish for it to continue, then they might have to do it. If we look at them right now, they're in dire need of defensive players and contributions off the bench. All in all, at the end of the day, the Warriors need to trade, and it should be Wiseman who goes. It's a win-win situation for both parties. What do you guys think? Coming up, who made the final call for James Wiseman? With all the backlash that seems to be in the air surrounding James Wiseman, the Warriors owner, Joe Lacob, is making his stance clear that it wasn't just him that chose to draft the 21-year-old. So let's find out exactly what went down to make the whole thing happen. Apparently, it was a unanimous decision among Steve Kerr and the Golden State coaching staff. If we dial the clock back a little, the James Wiseman project for the Golden State Warriors is almost 3 years in the making, and as you all know, it's not exactly going well. The American professional basketball player has failed to establish himself as a regular member of the Roundup. He didn't even get to the starting lineup because earlier this season, the man got demoted to playing in the G League. And in hindsight, the Warriors had quite the sandpit to choose from when they picked out James. For instance, LaMelo Ball, who was selected later by the Hornets, could have done a lot for that team right now if he had been given the chance. Similarly, Onyeka Okongwu is a stand-up player who's well in tune with his strengths, and boy can he play. A number of talents are out there who'd have been in perfect sync with the league, but what good do what-ifs and maybes do us now, right? Next, what does the Warriors owner have to say? It's no secret that the Warriors adore Wiseman and they want him to come good. In November 2020, owner Joe Lacob, a few months after the Warriors and Wiseman finalized their agreement, Lacob spoke with Jim Kawakami of The Athletic and shared that James is essentially his number 1 forever. He said that if he's being honest, he truly believes that he's a once-in-a-decade kind of kid. And that's not all. Joe really went ahead to state that, according to him, there isn't another center prospect that has emerged in the past 10 years that would rank in the same category as Joel Embiid. But this guy is incredibly gifted. Yep, the man could have broke into a song, and we wouldn't have been surprised. According to Joe, it's pretty captivating to see James in person and work out as they did. The 66-year-old shared that James Wiseman is incredibly mobile and has excellent ball handling skills for a man his size, and you can witness that yourself when you see him play in court. Any claim of how James can't shoot is baseless. He sure can, and is continuously improving at his work. And Joe already knows that James Wiseman will make a superb defender. At the same time, the Warriors owner clearly believed that he was what they were looking for and would fit the team perfectly. Following up on that, what went wrong? Well, we're not experts here, but it's like what they say, the taller you are, the harder you fall. It could just very well be that because so many, for so long, had been singing the James Wiseman praises, it all got a little too overwhelming. Or perhaps he simply couldn't find his pace in the team he's currently in. But does that mean we should write him off just yet? We think not. It wasn't just Joe LeCobb who sang Wiseman's praises, you know. Throughout the early years of his Warriors tenure, all members of the organization who had a voice, including players, coaches, Bob Myers, and front office staff, had come forward to speak about Wiseman's potential. But those times are essentially over. And now that things haven't exactly worked out as they had hoped, LeCobb wants to make it very clear that drafting the guy was not his decision alone. He laid it out pretty plainly by saying that he knows some people enjoy making up stories. And while they all adore him and still have high opinions of the player, they have to make the roster their priority. They want the win today, rather than 2 years from today. With that and all their financial obligations in mind, he needs to strike a balance. Either way, he still has a ton of hope for the young man's future, and honestly, as the owner, we think this is the right way to go. Do you all agree? Now, let's talk about the infamous leaked video. You all know which video we're talking about, right? Yep, the same footage that showed Draymond Green landing a rock-hard punch on none other than Jordan Poole. In the offseason, Green punched Poole during practice, sparking a heated debate within the Warriors organization. Well, we all know that you guys saw it, and we all know that you all had your very own conspiracy theories about the leak. And this time around, there might have been something there. Hear us out. According to Gilbert Arenas, the Golden State Warriors released the footage of Draymond Green striking Jordan Poole on purpose. Yikes. Well, after the release or leak of the reel, Arenas was questioned about Green's behavior against his teammates in a recent interview with Vlad TV. And that's when the former Warriors player claimed that it was intentional for the team to distribute the video via TMZ intentionally. TMZ reminds us of another quote-unquote leaked footage, remember the widely popular trial one? Lastly, could there be any truth to the matter? Well, this release may not be as dramatic as the trial, but sports either way is a very heated topic, so let's see why Gilbert thinks it was deliberate. The 41-year-old insisted on his stance by claiming that the Golden State Warriors were aware of the whole thing being recorded, so unless the video came from the team themselves, whoever had the film would be responsible if it was disclosed to the public. Arenas went ahead and painted quite a picture, saying they're always surrounded by cameras during practice, security cams, and filming personnel. So when it all went down, only the organization itself had to uphold the responsibility as they were the ones in charge. The three-time All-Star continued by hinting that Draymond Green's contract predicament might have had something to do with everything. Is that a tease? Well, at the end of the season, Green will have the option to break free from his contract. So now the Warriors might use Green's punch as justification for not re-signing him, and since there's video evidence, there's no backing out. According to Gilbert Arenas, the new name on the block is Jordan Poole, and now the Golden Warriors have an ironclad case of why or why not they won't grant someone a specific sum of money or a long-term contract. All this is giving us very evil mastermind vibes. But what do you guys think? That's a wrap. Let us know in the comments below what you think of James Wiseman. Should he trade? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.